Alright, fellow Slayers, time for the final episode review of the day, which is Band Candy. Buffy combines her slaying with studying for the SAT in the cemetery with Giles. At school the next day, Buffy tells Willow and Oz of a test-related nightmare. Oz offers to help her study, and Willow brags about how smart Oz is. Buffy tells him Giles and her mom have her scheduled 24/7 to keep her out of trouble. They find Principal Snyder in the cafeteria handing out boxes of Milk Bar chocolates, which they are forced to sell to pay for band uniforms. Meanwhile, at Sunnydale City Hall, Mayor Wilkins speaks to Mr. Trick about a tribute he needs to make to a demon. Trick assures his boss that the matter is well in hand, as he's hired an outside contractor who has caused trouble in Sunnydale before. Buffy sells half of her candy to her mom, and Buffy tries to convince her mom to let her get her driver's license. Joyce refuses, at least in part because she's worried that if Buffy has the license, she might leave again and not come back. Buffy then leaves to the library, telling her mother that Giles is making her practice all night. She sells the other half of her candy quota to Giles and leaves, telling Giles her mother is making her go home. Instead, Buffy visits Angel, bringing him blood. He is quickly getting better and is practicing Tai Chi. He asks her about Scott, but she doesn't tell him they've broken up. When she arrives at home, Buffy finds her mother and Giles waiting, angry at her lies. They send her to bed and proceed to munch on the chocolate bars. The next day, Giles fails to show up for study hall, and Xander and Willow secretly play footsie under the table. Worried, Buffy goes to Giles' place and finds her mom sitting on the couch. Giles explains that they are rescheduling her activities to lessen her burden, and Joyce gives Buffy her car keys and tells her to drive herself home. After a surprise, Buffy leaves. The conspiratorially hope she's not noticed anything amiss, and then Giles lights up a cigarette and Joyce pulls out a bottle of Kahlua she had quickly hidden when Buffy arrived. Giles, now Ripper, offers to take Joyce out for some fun while Buffy decides to go with Willow to the Bronze, despite the SAT exam being the next day. Buffy frightens Willow with her crazy driving. At the Bronze, Buffy and Willow discover the place now packed with adults who are acting like teenagers, including Principal Snyder, Mrs. Bartram, and Willow's shirtless stage-diving doctor. Snyder starts following Buffy and Willow, who take off, along with Oz, to find out what's going on. They notice the manic eating of band candy and suspect that it is causing adults to act like teenagers, with the intended irresponsibility less than emotionality. Oz initially isn't too worried, assuming that even as a teenager, Giles would still be responsible. Buffy and Willow, however, know better and tell him that rather than being responsible, Giles was an out-of-control dark magic user. Trick checks up on Ethan Rayne, the outside contractor, and the production of the chocolate bars, then leaves to perform the tribute. Meanwhile, Joyce notices a coat in the window of the Dot Vintage store, and Ripper shatters it to steal the coat. The ensuing alarm tracks a cop, who Giles beats unconscious. They steal skunk cuffs and cruiser. He and Joyce start making out on the hood of the police car. Ow. Buffy gets into a car accident and damages her mom's car. Snyder knows the factory where the candy came from, so Buffy sends her friends to the library to do research just before finding her mother and Giles kissing in the middle of the street. Buffy tries to reason with her mother, with no luck. She enters the factory, taking Joyce along. Giles and Snyder follow. Inside, Buffy finds Ethan and catches him. Her fist persuades Ethan to give up all that he knows. Trick needs to tell Sunnydale adults in order to take tribute for Luconis. Meanwhile, 4 vampires entered an unguarded hospital to remove 4 newborn babies. The Scooby's research reveals that the demon Luconis eats babies, and Giles remembers that the demon may be found in the sewers. Buffy, Giles, and Joyce crash the party in the sewer, and the mayor flees unnoticed. Buffy defeats the vampires while Giles and Joyce rescue the babies. Trick escapes and the demon appears. Buffy pulls down a gas pipe, igniting it, forming a jet of fire which she attacks and kills Luconis. Later, the mayor and Mr. Trick discuss the debacle. Although the mayor isn't happy, he's placated when Trick points out that now there's one less demon he needs to pay tribute to. Despite this, the mayor warns Trick not to do him any more favors. The next day, the adults have returned to their senses. Xander probably chooses Willow, Oz, Xander, and Cordelia as volunteers to clean up the mess in the hall. Buffy complains to Giles about the SATs. They meet Joyce, but Buffy fails to notice their awkwardness upon seeing each other. Uh. So now let's take a look at some continuity surrounding this episode. After Joyce's funeral, Giles drinks still and listens to the song he played for her in this episode. In earshot, Buffy learns that Giles and Joyce actually did have sex during the band Candy Mayhem. Twice. Ew. Due to the events under the candy's influence, Joyce and Giles avoid each other for the next few episodes. In Gingerbread, he rashly asks her if a rumor was about them. Ethan escapes for the third time after Halloween and the Dark Age, although it'll be his last, as he's imprisoned in a new man until his death. When they were young, Joyce was somewhat of an outsider at school. Snyder was a cool kid who thought he fit in, and Giles exhibited his rebel ripper personality. Giles' actions confirm his confessions from the Dark Age, while Joyce had previously admitted to being on the yearbook committee in Witch. Snyder's awkwardness towards Joyce gives Buffy words towards him in Becoming Part 2 more validity. Snyder tells Buffy she drives like a spaz, something which you'll hear again in Time of Your Life Part 3 while attempting to drive a flying car. Xander has Cordea's flyer for Homecoming Queen on his locker door. According to the Sunnydale High yearbook novel, the chocolate sale earned $600,000 for the band. That's actually pretty cool. So now let's take a look at a production note surrounding this episode. This is the first episode to be written by Jane Espenson. Okay. And now let's take a look at some pop culture references. Buffy mentions the Real World reality TV series. Buffy's line, "Let's do the time warp again," is a reference to a song in the Rocky Horror Picture Show musical. Anthony had performed the role of Dr. Frankenfurter in a London production of the Rocky Horror Show for over a year. When faced with the prospect of selling the band Candy, Buffy compares herself to fictional character Willie Loman from the play Death of a Salesman. Principal Snyder tells Buffy Willow, "Call me Snyder," just like the last name Barbarino, the character from the Welcome Back Kotter series. Xander asked Snyder if he was visited by the ghost of Christmas Past, a character from the 1843 novella A Christmas Carol by Charles Dickens. Joyce mentions the band Seals and Crofts. Joyce compares Giles with actor Burt Reynolds. Joyce says the coach she wants is very Juice Noonan, a reference to the pop and country singer. Giles plays for Joyce the Cream song Tales of Brave Ulysses. And now finally let's take a look at a goof from this episode. The book exploring Demon Dimensions has discovered spelling dimensions Dimentions instead. So overall, I think this episode is kind of interesting and a little bit fun and goofy in a interesting, unique way. So yeah. So overall, I give Band Candy 3 vampire steaks out of 5. But anyway, tune in more as we take a look at the next episode, Revelations. So, until then, here endeth the lesson.